Clamp prop! Hey guys, it's Spence from Video Spence and welcome back to another lesson. Today we're gonna slice, we're gonna dice, we're gonna chop things into little pieces. Well, actually I'm just gonna show you the tools for editing on the timeline. We talked about them briefly in the last lesson, but I wanna go into a little more detail. This will give you a good idea about which tool to use for the right job, instead of just sticking to the slice tool, the regular razor blade. Over here I've added 3 sample clips, and you'll notice that clip 1, clip 2, clip 3, actually the 1 and 3 are part of the same video that I borrowed from Henry, but it'll give us an example that we can use here to demonstrate the tools. I also turned off the audio on the timeline so that we don't have that scrubber noise as we're going through the clips. Now, you'll remember the 2 basic tools we started with are the selection tool, which is used for generally grabbing things and moving them around. This is going to be your all-purpose tool for moving your way around the editing bay, as well as doing things like file management and so forth. Next, we talked in the last video about, I like to call it the little mitt or the hand, but it's the drag tool. And we use that for things like moving the entire timeline around without actually affecting the clips on the timeline. Also, we might as well mention again that this is the zoom or the scale tool. And a shortcut, rather than using this to move right and left, would be you can actually use your mouse, and if you have a mouse wheel, hold the command key. In Mac it's command, in PC it's control. If you hold the control or command key down and scroll down, it'll shrink, up it'll scale up. This is super handy because you can keep your hand on the mouse. We also mentioned in the last video real quick that I can move right and left on the timeline in actually watching it by using J, K, L, and the space bar to play. So I can scrub backwards with J, forward with L, stop with K, and use my thumb on the space key in order to start the play. Super easy. But what we're really here for are these tools. So we talked about the slice tool. That's used for just clicking on anything you want to slice into pieces. And you don't have to have the scrubber marker on the actual spot. You can do it anywhere you want. So for example, I'm going to click on the slice tool and I can just slice and dice and slice and dice. And if I make a mistake, I can do an undo, which is the same command that we use for anything in the PC or the Mac world. It's either Control or Command Z to go backwards. So Command Z, I undo my slices, and I can restore it to just the original 3 clips. Now the next tool is what we're going to call the slip tool. Now I like to think of this as looking through a telescope or looking through binoculars at the screen. What we're going to effectively do is we're going to be able to slip the content inside of each clip forward and backwards without affecting the other clips on either side. So it's kind of like, I don't know, like General Rommel looking along the battlefield. We're not actually changing the perspective of where we're at. The clip stays the same, but we're moving along the clip itself. So let's use, let's say, the middle clip here. Oops. Let's select, first of all, the right tool, and then let's use this clip here. I want you to note on the right-hand viewer window that it allows us to see what we're panning and viewing. So watch what happens. I click on the middle clip, then I can go to the edge. It doesn't make a difference. Anywhere in the clip. When I move left and right, it gives me 2 views. The one on the bottom left is the beginning, and the one on the bottom right is the end of this clip. So effectively, this left-hand one here with the blue trike, that's where the new beginning will be. And the one on the right is where the new end will be. At the top left is the last frame of the clip before it, and the top right is the first frame of the next clip in line. So as you can see, we have basically 4 position points. We have what's before this clip, what's the new starting point, what's the new ending point, and then what's the new beginning point or the existing beginning point of the next clip. And this is super handy because you don't have to change the length of your project or rearrange anything, but maybe there's just a little bit better version of what you're able to view, and you just want to move a little bit forward or backwards in the existing clip. Also, it's worthy of noting that unlike what I recommended for my own speed editing. Here the clips are butt jointed together. Now it really won't make much difference. If I wanted to, I can move this up and it has the same effect. So in other words, if I grab the middle clip, let me get rid of the razor blade. If I move this up, the tool will still work just the same, which is nice. It's just you'll notice you will not see the clip before or after. So this is one of those cases where it's actually worthwhile, if you're going to use the advanced tools, to actually keep the clips butt jointed together. And there's other reasons for this too, as we'll talk about when I get into transitions. All right, the next tool is this one. This is called the slide tool. And what the slide tool allows you to do is to take a piece of your footage and literally move it forward or backwards in relation to the clip before or after. It literally slides it. Almost think like a slide rule when you're moving that piece along the edge. Watch how this works. So I grab it, let's say, until the tool activates, and I move it where I want it to go. And notice it gives you the same reference points, right? It gives you the what's right before, what's right after, as well as what is the first frame you're on and the last frame you're on. So let's move it again and we'll see. In the right-hand viewer window, let's see what comes up. You'll see here that the top left is the first frame of the clip I'm sliding, and the top right is the last frame of the clip I'm sliding. But as I slide it, it's giving me the reference of what is the frame that's going to be showing from the clip before, and what's the frame of the clip that's going to be next. And this gives me a really nice way, if I want to keep the clip lengths the same, to move to the ideal position. This is a tool you'll probably use later. It's not a tool that you would use in the beginning. So just note these and remember them for later use. Next is the ripple. This one is probably the most powerful next tool you're going to use because it does so many things to speed up your editing process. Think of ripple, like I mentioned, dropping a stone into the water and it ripples outwards. Well, in the same way, the ripple tool gives us a handle. It looks like, I guess it's like a bracket on the keyboard. And you'll notice if I go to the left side, the bracket faces left. If I click on the right clip, it's to the right. Watch what it allows me to do. I can take this and I can shorten or lengthen a particular clip. But here's the difference. This will actually ripple outwards and push everything or shrink everything. So if you make the clip bigger or longer, it will make your project longer. If you make it shorter, it will make your project shorter. And that may be the thing that you want to have happen, but that's what it does. So watch what happens. If I make this clip shorter, I can see in my upper right viewer window where the first frame is of this new clip length and where the last frame will be. When I move that down, look what happened in the project. The whole project got shorter. Let's do it on this clip. Again, I can see here that there is only one clip showing in the viewer. Why is that? Well, that's because it's the end of the movie. There is no other thing to the right, so there's no other reference. Same thing here. If I clip on the beginning and I move this, I'll see that I also do not have any other clip except the one because this is at the beginning of the movie. So ripple tool, very handy. Here's another trick for the ripple tool. Let's say, for example, that I sliced and diced something and there was a big gap. What I can do is when I'm in either the ripple tool or just right clicking, I can say ripple delete gap. And what that does is it allows me to close that gap really quick. Boom. I don't have to drag anything around. Let's do that again. Ripple delete gap. Boom. Now I can do that manually if I happen to be in the ripple tool, because I can just go over here, ripple, and I can do the same thing. I could drag it down. But as you can see, that's making the actual clip longer. So, ripple, very handy, very powerful. Next is the roll edit tool. So let me restore this back to what I had before. Okay, roll edit is where we want to do kind of what the ripple does, but we don't want to change the project length. So here what we want to do is we want to change the actual particular clip and we want to expand its ability. We want to make it, let's say, bigger or smaller, but the other clips on either side, we don't want to change. right? So maybe I love this extreme flying clip in the middle, and I'm going to say, hey, let's use more of that. But I don't want to make the length of the whole project more than whatever it is, a minute or two. So here I use the roll edit, and now I can change. Again, I see the reference points, the end of the clip before and the beginning of this clip. And I can do the same on this side. And you'll notice that I was able to very quickly, as soon as I process this, I was very quickly able to make the middle clip as big as I wanted, but it left the length of the project alone. This is kind of when I think of this like rolling out the Venetian blinds or rolling out the sliding doors, you know, those kind of overlapping panel doors. You're making the space bigger, but the door opening, the project length stays the same. And then finally, this is one of my favorites. I mentioned this originally. This is the one that we use to change the relative speed. So you can think of this as the stretching or compressing tool if you want. This basically says you want to take the same clip and you want to make it smaller, but it's actually all the same amount of footage. You're just going to compress them so they go faster or stretch them so they go slower. So let's apply it here on this big clip. If I take this and I use the actual stretch tool, you'll notice that it has two figures. It has the first figure is the real time, and then the one on the right is the new duration. So I'm going from like 18 seconds, 19 seconds down to 3 seconds. That's going to be like super fast motion, and we can sample it here. Whoa, right? It just skipped right by it. So this is one that I find is very handy whenever I'm in the middle of some kind of a really great edit, and I know that the footage can't really be told from fast or slow, right? Maybe the sky is in the background, but I just want to fill the space without affecting the other clips and without, you know, having to worry like, oh, am I going to actually accidentally pick up something from the original video footage that shows a different edit, right? So for example, maybe one of my cameras is in the original edit showing my face on the sky, and the next clip was my dashboard. If I want to make sure that I just fill some more space with only the shot of me and the sky behind me, but I don't want to go too far and pick up the next thing, which shows my dashboard, I'll just leave the footage I have and just stretch it a little bit, because I can't really tell, or nobody can really tell, how fast the sky is moving in the background. It's really just like a white or a blank screen. So that's a tool I'll show in action. In fact, I'll show all of these tools in action in later videos, but these tools you use in combination. I would say 90% of the time I'm using the simple slicing tool and I'm using the ripple editor just to clean up. So I really quickly slice, drag, clean up the space. That'll get you probably 80% of the benefits with 20% of the knowledge, but at least now you have 100% of all the tools at your disposal. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. If you haven't done so but you're liking these videos, please give me some feedback. Subscribe or join or follow this channel on YouTube. And also, if you want, drop on by trikepilot.com where I'm putting all of these videos, and give me a shout out or join for free so you can participate in the forums, whether it be about flying in general or about video editing, photography, videography, and so forth. This is Spence, and I'll see you on the next video. Clamp prop!